Hi, thank you for joining us again on cogrez, cognitive resonance. Um, Most of you who are watching this know what the objective is, but let me explain it again, is that we are highlighting creators in our midst. You know, in the world of AI and all the things that go on, um, we really need to preserve and elevate our creators. And I have with us today Carolina Luna, who I have been impressed with since I met her a number of years ago through local businesses and the MacAuliff Business Alliance and other great efforts. And while I saw her as a creative person, I really didn't know the depth of that creativity. And we're about to discover that together because I just received the PowerPoint download and I was like, oh my goodness, this is more than I expected. The words sometimes don't do justice to what somebody's creativity is. So, with that, I'm very happy to have you on our show today and to just learn a little more, even though we've known each other back and
Yeah.
forth in these things. We don't, we have so much to cover. So, what I think we're going to focus on the project, a recent project. So maybe a little bit of a bio, but not too much because we can save that for another episode.
Yes.
But and we go right into what this amazing project that you're on
Yeah.
is all about.
And thank you so much for having me today, Brian. I'm so nervous and excited at the same time. I have resisted this interview for quite a bit, but here I am. I love that you're supporting artists, and I'm so happy that I have now a platform here to share a little bit of my work because I tend not to share it. That's
Yeah.
why you probably got
Yeah.
a little shocked when you saw what you saw. I don't share as much as I should be sharing as an artist. So maybe this is a good start. Thank you for having me. So I'm Carolina Luna, being a photographer for over 2 decades already, spanning from portraiture, photographing children's and families, wedding photography, and about 7 years ago, with some life changes and everything, I rebranded and I decided to focus on a niche of personal branding. But before going to personal branding, yes, I had a bit of, I would say, a life crisis or a spiritual crisis that got me into my path of self-development and going really, really deep into discovering a whole new world that I didn't think it was accessible or existent, which was, you know, I grew up in Brazil, first of all. So I came here about 27 years ago, and my first job was as a photographer. Brazilian people are very spiritual and soulful, as you probably have met some Brazilian people before. But when I decided to have these life changes, and I started going down the spiral of personal development, I discovered the word goddess. And I was very intrigued. And I quickly discovered that it wasn't about goddesses on pedestals or anything like that, but the word goddess meant so much more. It meant women who were aspiring to be more connected with their divine feminine, right? So I was very curious, and I started, going for hours at a time on YouTube, learning, and I stumbled upon some different platforms. Like, for example, the Three Sisters is an organization, international organization that has online gatherings from women from all over the world. And it's all about getting back to our roots, Brian, getting back to, a little bit of the tribe vibe where women were the gatherers and men were the hunters, right? And
It's
women,
very true. There's some
yeah,
of the greatest connections in life. So I'm Irish, and in Gaelic culture, it's a very matriarchal society.
Yeah.
So women play a very, very big role in the societal thing. So I'm eager to see some of these photos because I'd share them because I did take a peek. So take us through what the art is
Yes.
and how that brings. I love the idea of the feminine divinity and
Yes.
it's just a great.
Yeah. So when I started to find this goddess world, or the word goddess, first was a little off-putting, which I think a lot of people feel the same way when say, "Oh, you're goddess," or, but
Not
pretty
until you
much,
see the photos.
yeah. What it is just about connecting and recognizing is that we are divine, right? That we are made from the same fabric than the creator, and remembering, and the fact that we're remembering, we're becoming more connected to that spirit. So I started off, very funny story, but not funny. But I was, kind of going through some things in life and considering divorce at the time. Um, it was this winter, and my friend, who was a yoga teacher, invited me to get out of the house. She had this Jeep and she picked me up. I said, Carolina, let's brave the snow and go to our friends who are going to have like a little gathering at home. I said, okay, let's go. And it ended up being a gathering of women, like what today we feel like would be a little bit of a women at work, but was a pitch for some cosmetic products. But I was so disconnected from having friends. I grew up in Brazil. I didn't come to school here in US. I didn't attend college here. So my friend who was presenting, she got up and said, we women need to support each other. And I got so freaking excited. I said, yes, let's do this. Let's do this. And I said, let's, get together. Let me get some phone numbers here and I'll host. I had a beautiful home, gorgeous. I said, I have space. Just come to my place. We'll figure out how we're going to do this. I just enjoyed being out of the house with more like-minded women. Well, it turned out they weren't so like-minded. Nobody actually wanted to come. But I invited a few friends and we started in my living room. Oh, actually, it was in my kitchen table. I love hosting people. So I gather everybody around the table, some vino and some food. And okay, let's have a girly time here. And, I like this. Well, and then it grew, Brian. It grew. I started posting on Meetup. I started posting on Facebook and opened the door for whoever wanted to be a part of it. So what started with maybe the first meeting was maybe 5 friends, then 11 friends, and then became this. I decided to take the
Even though it
circle
was
to
a big
nature.
house, you needed a bigger space.
Well, what happened, women actually do seek opportunities to find their tribe, let's say, right? To be able to be with like-minded women. Because while we're all the same, we usually drift towards people that are, have the same values. So,
Yes, that's very true.
yeah. So a lot of women were looking for these gatherings at the time. Not a lot. It was a little hush hush. I didn't know what I was doing, honestly, because I didn't grow up here. And when I started visiting different circles, I was looking for to learn and to participate. I found divine feminine circles, spoke about goddess, honor the pagan culture, honoring the directions in circles. So what is a circle? Is when you sit in a circle format, there's no hierarchy, there's not really, nobody's better than the others, not like, it's really how it used to be, when you, back in the day, probably sat, and did some ceremonies and rituals, rites of passages.
It's all
and
one clan.
one
Well,
clan,
everybody's
yeah.
in the same space. Yeah.
Yes. So when I started visiting different circles, I was picking up what I resonated the most with, and I was capable of offering. And I created my own format. So I had a 2-hour circle where people would come first in my living room. I had some oracle cards to, conversation starters to help people to
Open up.
open up.
Yeah.
So it was really beautiful to see how people would open up and be vulnerable, and just how a random card will open up so much. It typically resonates with people and gets some
And they're
stuff for them to reflect and
in a safe
express.
space.
Safe
It's all
space, yeah.
women, so it's a safe space. They feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And it's, for a lot of people, that spirituality, unfortunately, is locked up. So it sounds like you're able to open up their soul to be more exposed.
But that's exactly what it is. When I was opening up myself to spirituality, I felt so good about the possibilities, and so much more alive. And there was so much more to life than the material world. And I want everybody to experience that. So that's why I opened it up. And I want to, when you start rising, you want to bring people with you.
Oh, of course, it's no fun to be alone.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to share.
So I used to host, in these 2 hours was 1 hour where I facilitated, and I always wanted to bring somebody who would speak about something interesting that was a little, off the beaten path, but things that I was curious about. So I had invited guests to come and participate, and it was a nice thing because then once I published the events, they brought in a little bit of their community also, so a collaboration. And then Goddesshood, which started as a download, from that party. I forgot to tell you, that first party where the women were gathering, and I said, well, we got to do this. In the way home, that's when I got this download for this name, Goddesshood.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere. I had no idea.
We'll go back to that slide you had first. This is the I guess the masthead for it, right? This is your, the expression, and this one image alone that you chose for that is, to me, right away you get it. You get there's an aura, I guess you'd call it, an aura about the people in the photos that you've taken that must be related to their opening of their spirit.
Yeah. Throughout my career, even when I was photographing children and adults, people always told me, Carolina, you really capture the soul. You really capture my personality. You really capture the part of me I couldn't see for myself. And so it has been a through line throughout my life, this thing that I wanted things to feel real, to be emotive, for you to be able to see your potential also. And I learned early on in my career here in US, when I actually ran 11 portrait studios. I was a district manager, and that happened fairly quickly because I excelled in my photography because it was a passion of mine.
Yeah.
I went to school for advertising. So when I got into this career here, I quickly, from doing minimum wage, I became a studio associate, a studio manager. I got promoted, time after time, very quickly, went to a train-the-trainer program, and really loved photography. I really loved
you've got it. You've got
understanding people a little better.
Yeah.
The truth is probably because I'm an introvert, and when I have the camera, I feel safer. I feel safer to get closer to the person, to observe, to be a part of it without really having to speak.
Yeah.
So
let's go. If not time, let's go through some of the photos that you've taken,
Yes.
and then let's spend a little bit of time as we're doing that, thinking about who would come to you for this. What's the you're this brilliant artist. You certainly have, from what I've seen, and everybody will see, some a real gift for it. Who would benefit from this? What are we
Okay.
going to tell people to say?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you've got to come down and make an appointment with you or book a session with you to say,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I need to get in this ecosystem or need to spend time with you. So let's go through some of your wonderful photography and
Thank you.
and we'll and tell us what those images are about, or what
Yes.
drew you to them.
Yes. So actually, Goddesshood is the name of the community, and we're celebrating 10 years since I started those gatherings in the living room. But just about 4 years ago, Brian, that's when I was so puzzled. How can I be extending my photography, my artistry, and connecting everything that I love into one thing? And that's how I decided to try something different. So simply on Facebook, I posted something. When you follow intuition, I said, well, there must be some people that have some really stories behind maybe a gown that they wore at a wedding, and maybe we can do like a thresh the dress type of thing, maybe prom dress that they're never going to use again. But I was really trying to find a way to connect my two worlds. Of course, already hosting the women's circles every full moon, which is part of, the nickname Luna came about. Me hosting the full moon circles is not really, it's a nickname that I adopted because then we called each other goddesses. So give yourself a goddess name when we sit in the sacred space. Mine was Goddess Luna because I was hosting circles every full moon, hence the full moon circles. And by the way, when I took the circles to the beach, I had a guest speaker that had a huge following, Brian. And my circles were about 12 women, 15 women the most. But then she said, Carolina, can I bring men? And can I bring drummers? And I say yes and yes. She brought in a huge community of followers. The TV station was there. And I had about 100 people come to my circle. So we went from the small living room to the beach with a small group of people, just women, to being like a co-ed event. I just wanted to point that out because I think understanding goddesshood, what it is, it was created as a divine feminine awakening movement. And it was very meaningful. I think it was a gift, starting from that word, goddesshood, which is what it means is our process of becoming more divine or connecting, a process of remembering, right? So the Goddesshood Photography Project, even though I wasn't sure how to connect both of my worlds, started just simply by posting something on Facebook and saying, hey, who has a pretty dress that they wanted to thrash? Let's go to nature. Let's wear the gown and just go in the water. Let's just have fun. Let's be childlike. Let's roll on the
And
sand.
these pictures do say that. It's quite interesting. So maybe we just run through a few of them as it goes, and tell me what are we looking at?
This is how I interpret my spiritual portraits. Women going to nature and dropping down to who they truly are. I think nature is the biggest healer, and that's nature who helped me, and that's why I moved the circles to the beach, and I wanted to do photographs of women in nature. So I do this at sunrise, by the way, Brian, because sunrise is just so magical. And a lot of us, unfortunately, because our lifestyles, we don't get to see the sunrise at all. we see more sunsets and sunrises, right?
It's beautiful.
So
Absolutely beautiful.
by having this in nature sunrise, we add the element of awe to the experience. It's really the experience of photographing starts beforehand, you know, talking to the women, seeing what they're experiencing in life. Some are going through divorce, some have lost themselves in their roles, lost their confidence. You know, women are master adapters, and I think you agree.
Yes.
You know, that, you know, not only we have our responsibilities as, you know, parents, both men and women, of course, but women tend to multitask a lot
exactly.
and do a lot.
And become a primary, especially if there's children involved, become
Yes.
a primary caregiver, with some exceptions. But
Yes.
in general, the
Yes.
women have to think about everything.
Everything. And all women are meant to take care of all the details. Men are more single focused. By nature, men are, you know, what's the point? What the lance, the spear, right? You go hunt, go get everybody taken care of and fed, right? Protected.
Safe, yeah.
Yeah, safe. And the women will take care of everybody and all the details, right? So going to nature to me was very important for my healing, my own healing. But I wanted to add this element to the photography, because once you just are in nature, bare feet, open sky, and the awe of the beach or the forest, it just brings it to the next level.
Yeah.
So here I have women, you know, tell me what they wanted to experience, what's going on in their life, and how can we have a transformation? How can this experience boost momentum in their personal life and business? Because let's be honest, we all don't pause enough to reflect who we are today, who we wanted to be, and if we're on track.
Yeah.
Right? So this is an opportunity to reconnect. And, you know, and trust me, some women choose to do an experience like this because they're too much on their masculine and they need to tap into their softer side. Because we are.
Of course, we're in a challenging society where
Yeah.
if you want to get ahead as a woman, you tend to be more forceful, more of a hunter.
Right.
So this opens up. So if somebody wants to go on this kind of experience, and we'll make sure that the entire photo, because there's 60 beautiful photos here, and I'm glad you're scrolling through them.
Yes.
As people are listening. What's the opportunity? Do they go to your website? How do they get in touch with you, or how do they learn more about booking a session?
Okay. Yes, I do have a website. Primarily as a photographer, I have that in there. Is carolinalunafotography.com. And I do have the website for my gatherings, the Goddesshood community. And it's goddesshood.com.
That's good.
Yes. And I would love to, you know, extend this invitation for any woman who feels like you need a little boost of motivation, right? You need to either you're going through a phase in life, in transitions in life, because we do go through transitions. From being young and having that energy to becoming moms. And for those of you who chose not to be moms or could not be moms, you're still a creator. We are birth givers. You know, by nature, we are creative beings. So we have that phase. We tend, as moms, to lose ourselves in our roles. And oftentimes we have to work as well as raise a family. We go through phases and comes to a point in life where you start questioning, you know, what do I really want?
Who am I again?
Who am
I think
I?
that happens to
Yeah.
everybody, not just women. People go through those phases. So I'm just thinking here as this might really be a great gift to give a woman in your life. As a man, that might be a great gift to give someone who's either going through a transition, or maybe it's it's one of those special years that you've, a milestone year that you may want to highlight. So we'll make sure to include links to both those websites. But I love goddesshood.com. Is that correct?
Goddesshood.com. Yes.
That is a great,
Goddesshood.com.
easy to remember.
When are you coming to my circle?
No, I will come.
During the summer, we definitely gather as co-ed, so men and women can come and experience a big reset. I call it a big reset. It's an opportunity for you to, escape from the mundane, go to our local beaches here on Long Island. We have beautiful, wonderful spaces that we can visit. I gather at Robert Moses Field 5. And also this year, for the second time, I'm going to Greece for a women's retreat where I've taken the project there last year for the first time and going this year again. So that's going to be just a
will people go with you to take photos there, or
Yeah, so I'll be booking photo shoots in Greece, as well as documenting.
Who's not going to want that? You want to give somebody a gift. Hey, photo shoot in Greece.
So it could be a goddess photo shoot, or it could be a branding photo shoot if it is aligned with you. This is for women of all ages. And is also, the Greece retreat is really special because a dear friend of mine is the one who hosts, and she's being on, she teaches orgasmic birth, which is some of the topics that we talked in circle in the past when it was just women were alternative topics, right? So nonviolent communication, how to use the household chemicals, how to do breath work, how to, do radical forgiving, how to do some consciousness hacks, right? But my friend Sheila, she teaches women to recognize that and how to have more pleasure in their bodies because we're taught that birth it's painful, right? But there's so much more. And so this retreat is really empowering, and the location is just wonderful. I'll see if I can get to my my slides from Greece.
So we're like almost at a half an hour, so I don't want to go too far over because somebody may not get this far down this line.
Yes.
So we're going to have these pictures in a collage that you'll be able to see.
Oh, wonderful.
Go to goddess.com and Carolina Luna, and we're going to certainly go back and forth.
Yes,
there's going to be plenty of opportunities.
Goddesshood.com.
I noticed that you are like supporting lots of local organizations, and
Yes.
you are doing a lot of pro bono work. So I have to say, on behalf of the organizations that we're both in, that you do this great work for, I sincerely appreciate. You've taken some great pictures of me, which I sincerely appreciate. Hopefully more of those coming. So please check out those websites. If you have anybody in your life or are a person that is saying, hey, I'd like to do something special for myself, and I think that's important, that you can go ahead and do something special for yourself. Book a session, a goddess session, and that would be really, really great.
Yes.
So this has been wonderful to have you on. You are so like, we just like opened up the little box and stuff started pouring out. We have more than we can cover in one
And thank you for putting up with my ADD. One idea leads to other. You were a great host and a great interview. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
It's been
Please
wonderful.
join us next time on cogrez, and more to come from brilliant creators in our community. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.